Alright guys, welcome back to Urge. Jameson and Alex here with our next series. Our first
you
video.
thought we were done.
We will never be done.
We will never be done.
We're going to be talking about roleplay value tier list.
Specifically.
Yes.
No combat here. Ain't no fighting up in
we
here.
don't care about those stupid combat abilities. Those are worthless. We're role players up in this place.
Story, interactions, people. Do you like them? Do you hate them?
Social interactions. Exploration. Forget about combat. We're only talking about social interaction. Exploration.
Yeah!
So, what we're going to do, asterisk, as always.
Oh, it's back, baby!
We're never done with the asterisk. Always be part of this. When we're talking about roleplay value, we're talking about interacting with the world around you, interacting with NPCs, non-combat scenarios, avoiding combat, basically things outside of the initiative order. Again, as I said, social interactions, exploration. Key points here. Not talking about class, fantasy, history, lore, background. That is on you as a player. We can't rate you as a player, but we can rate the mechanics of each subclass and how those abilities might improve your potential in the roleplay departments. So, today, talking about the Artificer. First up, before we get started, new giveaway.
The D&D Beyond Players Bundle.
Tons of character options.
Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment down below on the video so you're entered to win a great giveaway coming from us very soon. This
Our
is
tier list.
asterisk.
Double asterisks. We're going to go from S as being the top of the tier to A, B, C, D. D tier, the thought process here, it's going to be very limited potential with abilities, if any. That means most combat abilities are going to be the case in the subclass for the most part in those circumstances, or the abilities gained are just so lackluster that they're not going to really help you out much. C tier, we have niche potential, limited by ability options or your campaign setting potentially. So maybe you have some decent abilities, but they're very limited use.
Yes.
Or they're very niche. B tier, decent choice and abilities in most campaigns. Probably going to have a couple decent abilities that can be used relatively regularly. Mm-hmm. A tier, you're going to have great abilities that work in most campaigns. Probably pretty potent abilities that either have no limitations on them, or they're going to be able to be used on a pretty regular basis.
Right.
And then S tier, strong abilities that work in every campaign. And basically, they're just going to be good most of the time. They're going to have really strong abilities, either have, again, no limitation or just very, very potent.
Or my definition is, if it's bad in RP, it's your fault.
You're not taking full advantage of it.
You're not doing something right.
So, we'll get straight into it. There's not that many Artificers, so...
Only 4. So
this will
be, for sure, the shortest of all of these videos. Well, everything else has got at least 7 subclasses to go through as of the start of this series in April of 2021.
Yes.
So, first up on the list is the Artillerist. And for those of you who've watched our subclass series, you should kind of have a general idea of, the order of which things are going to go. Because that's kind of going to be the frame of reference to start with. They're going to be kind of more just expanding, delving more deep into specific part.
There will be some spoilers, as some things we did bump up or down. If we had any thoughts that maybe changed our minds later on, that we kind of adjusted in the tier list rankings. So things that might be similar in videos might be on different ranks and tier list after some further discussion that we've had.
Sure.
So, be a good starting point.
Starting out with the Artillerist, this one is about as easy as it's going to get.
Yes.
She starts right there in that D tier because there aren't any RP abilities for Artillerist.
Yeah, you're blowing stuff up. You are an Artillerist.
You're a combat specialist.
You have your cannons that are shooting and doing your flamethrower and all that crazy shenanigans. And, I mean, pretty much all the spells you get, too. Fireball, Wall of Fire, Cone of Cold, Thunderwave. These are combat-focused spells.
Yeah.
You have, essentially, no RP abilities. Really easy to throw that in that D tier. And I can almost guarantee you, we will probably be the only channel that puts the Artillerist in the lowest category of a tier list.
Of anything.
Because everyone loves the Artillerist, think it's crazy. But
because it is crazy
in the
RP combat.
Department. Exactly.
This is not a combat video.
Exactly. Okay. That's out of the way.
Easy stuff.
Easy enough.
Next,
we're going to move up to the next subclass, which is going to be the Alchemist.
Yes.
Artificer. With the Alchemist Artificer, you have your ability to create some spells. Create some potions that essentially
spell-like
function like
functions.
similar. With your experimental elixir. You're going to be giving walking speed, some AC potentially, that's more combat stuff. Being able to add number rolled to attack rolls, saving throws, blah, 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 can sometimes come into effect depending on what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Flying speed, of course. Alter self, again.
Absolutely.
So you have some options for sure. There is a few things here that we're not too fond of. That being that there are limited spell slots available to the Artificer. And also there is a minimal impact from these potions and some of these spells because the durations are either very short or, again, you are very limited on your spell slots.
Yep.
So we went ahead and threw the Alchemist into the old C tier.
Yep.
Has some interesting options, again, but more on the niche side of things. And, again, you're very limited by your spell slots, and the duration of these potions, most of them will only last about 10 minutes. So
we're not going to travel far when we go to our next choice of the Battlesmith, which will also hang out in the C tier. You've got a pet that you can spend some time with. You can bond with. You can do some creative things with that. But again, most of the spells you get access to are more combat based in terms of there goes, your other abilities besides your pet and what you can do with him creatively are proficient with martial weapons. You attack with a magic weapon, you can add your intelligence modifier. Definitely combat-based things. Arcane Jolt is more damage in combat. Extra attack. That's definitely got RP functionality. And then Improved Defender does just helps your defender in damage. Combat. More so really, it's specifically like you've got a robotic pet that you can do. You can be creative with who you want in RP situations. And he does have his own stat block listed in here, and he's got some skill proficiencies, athletics, perception, so he does have dark vision, so you can use him to scout with, and he can, do some other things maybe that other people in the party wouldn't be able to as much. So vigilant, so he can, be your little guard dog, watchdog while you do, nappy naps. But besides that, most of the rest of what's going on is more combat focused.
Yes. Definitely more on the combat side again. Surprise, surprise. And then lastly, of the subclasses, the fourth subclass and the newest subclass, which is the Armorer Artificer. Armorer. It's a weird word. You think Armorer?
It sounds like you're the Alchemist, like creation. You're slowly like powering down armor.
Yeah. Anyways,
I'm sorry.
So on here
you gotta let me know sometimes.
Some interesting things.
Very interesting things.
I mean, you're gonna get greater invisibility. That's a thing.
Good start.
It is what it is. Though it is only, it's greater invisibility. You got your 1 minute duration, so it is definitely more limited, but in very niche circumstances can be definitely solid. But what we're going to be focusing primarily on here is your arcane armor and the features that come along with that. It can be pretty good to be able to switch forms. Just at a pretty regular intervals here.
Yep.
So nothing too difficult there.
Just short rest.
If you want long rest. Yeah, if you want to go a little bit more on the dexterous side of things, go with your infiltrator, get your increased movement speed, which can definitely come into play. Advantage on stealth checks can be huge.
Especially if you don't have a rogue in the party.
Yeah, exactly. So you can kind of fill that role if needed in your composition. Now, the Guardian side is a little bit more on the combat-focused side of things, but how it is with that. It can definitely come into play when you get to the higher levels with your perfected armor with the Guardian, where you're able to magically use your reaction to force a creature to make a strength save and pull them. You could do some shenanigans with other people in your party that just willingly fail the strength save. So you can do some interesting little shenanigans there, for sure. But it does use some proficiency bonus uses on that, so you can't go too wild and crazy with that. But if you find a way to get across a chasm or something, and you kind of yank over your friends, use your reactions to pull them back over if it's not too big. Definitely a thing. But where I think things come into play the most is actually where you can get extra attunement slots.
Yep.
For your arcane armor, where you can choose to basically segment out your armor into different pieces and then modify them, like with your 9th level ability here. The boots, the helmet, and the armor's special weapon, and the armor itself, the chest piece. So you have essentially 4 different slots that can be used, and you can increase the number of items you can infuse with by 2.
Specific, but those have to be
part
for
of your
you.
armor.
Right, but you having the extra slots makes that very easy to be able to do.
So essentially, having those 2 extra slots is going to make you have more choices for RP focus for those 2 slots, because if they were originally going to be used for combat,
right,
now you get 2 free ones that you can essentially use for combat, and then you can pick 2 that are more on the RP focused side of the infusions options.
Yeah, it falls under that same kind of feel when subclasses and other things are giving free spells. Even if you could normally learn them anyway, you don't have to worry about trying to use that as a chosen prepared spell or a chosen learned spell because you're getting it for free anyway. So then by, subconsciously, whatever, it's secondhand of giving you an extra slot because it's letting you not have to worry about choosing that. So this, you were going to give yourself 2 anyway. Well, then now you got your 2, and you got 2 more to give to somebody else.
Yeah. And before we give away the final tier rating on here,
hint, it's above C.
Yeah. Well, surprise, surprise. Some of the spells, looking back at them as well, I mean, obviously we talked about greater invisibility. It is limited, though, because it's only a minute.
Sure.
So, because it's greater invisibility, it's the cost to be able to cast spells while you're invisible.
Sure.
Whatever. But you have stuff like Pass Wall, Wall of Force, Hypnotic Pattern that can definitely be used in RP situations, barring that may need to be a bit more extraneous if you're needing to use Wall of Force in an RP situation, but it could be needed if you're trying to, block off people from chasing you or something like that.
And you can even use mirror image in RP because you're creating illusions of yourself.
Yeah, you're
everybody scatter.
On the niche side of things,
just take off, just to confuse somebody. Again, only 1 minute, but if you need to get out of that initial jam, you can
just cause some confusion.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So all that being said, we went ahead and put the armor in the A tier.
Yes.
So those are our thoughts. We got the Artillerist in the D tier, Alchemist and Battlesmith bringing it up to C, and then Armorer in the A tier with pretty solid abilities that can be used regularly and work in most campaign settings, and solid options for all their spells.
Yep.
Now, again, I know this is crazy, but this is our opinion. It's okay for you to have different opinions. In fact...
No, it's not.
Yeah. Well, it's not. But if you have other thoughts that you want to see...
Which you shouldn't. I'm sorry, I'm done.
You can let us know in the comments down below.
Yes, you can.
And we'd love to hear your thoughts as well. These are our opinion on the role play side of things for the Artificer.
Yes.
So we will have more of these to come.
And don't worry, for those of you like me who like to smash things, we will be doing a combat-focused tier list as well. But it's just RP to start with.
Yes, we want to separate them out so we can talk more about specifics. Because again, where else are you going to find the Artillerist in the D tier list?
Only in an RP focus thing.
Exactly. So, that's going to wrap it up for this one, guys. Let us know what your thoughts are down below about this whole series, doing a tier list roleplay and a tier list combat for each of these.
And do you want to see us go through all the RP ones first, and then come back and do the combat ones? Or do them RP combat of the same class?
Artificer RP, Artificer combat, Barbarian.
Because that's something we have kind of gone back and forth
mix around. Yeah, we have other things in the hopper as well to mix it up with some older things that we've done in the past that have done well. So maybe we can bring back some older things. So stay tuned for that. A little spoiler for things to come. We got lots of stuff planned for you guys. Always love to read your comments and hear your thoughts down below, what you want to see from us in the future. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications so our new videos are coming out. So you're entered in our giveaways, so we can move on to the next giveaway after this one, and the next one after that, and next. The more we grow, the more we give away.
I've got a wild idea cooking up in my head, and I got a big head, so lots of fun things up there.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that, guys. And as always, thanks for watching.